political supporters. In California, you can be appointed or elected, and if you're appointed, you then have to run for election. So there's a political component to what judges have to do to survive. So what you're saying is correct.
Since we are coming up, though, on the, I just get you back to Wade in a second. We are coming up to, in October, it'll be 20 years that O.J. Simpson was acquitted. Now, in the idea that we're talking about judges, what is your honest and full opinion of Judge Ito?
You know, Judge Ito, throughout his career, was one of the brightest and one of the fairest judges in Los Angeles. He was a former prosecutor. His wife is a police officer. But nevertheless, he tried as best he could to be balanced and fair. And the defense bar acknowledged that in a world of pro-prosecution judges, this man really tried to be fair and follow the law. And unfortunately, after the O.J. Simpson acquittal, his career was permanently damaged. He could never get to the Court of Appeals, which is a higher court, even though he deserved to be there. And my reaction to your question is maybe some of the behavior he demonstrated in the Simpson case, given the enormous media glare, in retrospect, he probably would have changed, but I think he's one of the best judges we've had in the history of L.A. County. I think he did his best to try and follow the law and be fair to everybody, and I think he got a bad rap in many ways. I really do.
Absolutely, and now we are coming back in 20 years. Just a brief glimpse of before we get back to Wade, that whole trial. Did the prosecution win it, or did the defense win? Let me rephrase that. Did the prosecution lose it, or did the defense win it? What do you think is more closer to the truth?
I think there was a little of both. I think the defense lawyers were brilliant. I think Johnny Cochran was the best trial lawyer I've ever seen, the most talented I've ever seen. He combined enormous experience with enormous skill and with a great sense of humility and compassion and kindness to others. And he knew how to seize the moment and knew strategically what he had to do. He knew when to be ruthless. He knew when to be respectful. He knew when to be kind and generous. And at the same time, he was vigorously trying to defend his client. And he was just the most brilliant trial lawyer I know of. He was also joined by Barry Scheck, who was one of the greatest lawyers in American history. His pioneering use of DNA to exonerate innocent people is unparalleled. He's one of the greatest lawyers ever, and he was brilliant in that case.
Alan Dershowitz.
Alan Dershowitz was sort of behind the scenes doing, motion work and legal research. He didn't try any of the case, and he was a great addition.
Was recently accused of inappropriate sex with a minor, but the timeline didn't make any sense. To make a quick statement about that, he showed proof that he wasn't at these places that they were, but it's just he said it was more of an indictment of the lawyer actually bringing that up, but that's another story. But you do have a good feeling about Judge.
I mean, back to your question, Peter Neufeld was also a DNA expert. You had F. Lee Bailey had some great moments in the trial. I don't think
he was a great cross-examiner. I've been told by some of my legal analysts that come up here.
Well, I studied F. Lee Bailey.
Would you agree with that?
I studied F. Lee Bailey's books. He's written some great books that any trial lawyer should read and think about. Johnny Cochran wrote 2 wonderful books. As I said, Barry Scheck, Peter Neufeld, great lawyers. I don't think you needed Shapiro on the team. I don't think he added much of anything, in my opinion. But the defense did a fabulous job.
Was he let go, Shapiro?
No. He was there throughout the trial. He took some witnesses. He didn't do the opening. Or
was Howard Weitzman there?
No, Howard Weitzman initially represented J. Simpson. He left he left the representation of Simpson, and there are differing opinions on why he left. Reportedly, he says that he wanted to leave. Simpson claimed he got rid of him, but who knows what the truth is? I wasn't there. I don't know. I really don't know. But
right.
Weitzman was with him initially when you had the Bronco chase. Weitzman met Simpson at Simpson's home, and then Shapiro ended up replacing Weitzman. But the
that was just fascinating.
By the same token, I think the prosecution, did a poor job. They were dedicated, to getting a conviction, but they seemed very immature and very outmatched by the defense. And they could have done a much better job presenting their case.
I totally agree.